dated here in the DC area, there's a tendency to think after a while, if you've been inured to it after a while, that you're dating the same person over and over and over and over again. Ladies, he's usually a technocrat of some sort, right? A systems engineer. Shows up on the date wearing pleated khakis and a golf shirt with the logo of the company that works for him blazoned on it, KPMG, right? SAIC. Or he's a patent attorney who, I'm almost certain, are the most boring people on the planet. Middle of book 8 of Paradise Lost, boring, okay? Guys, she's highly intelligent, Ivy League educated, came to DC for her career, right? Working as in-house counsel for the NGO or nonprofit she's passionate about, right? Travels a lot for her job, but has some perfectly wonderful margins you'll fit right into, right? Alongside her cats, always two. Always named after literary figures, Tristan and Isolde, Franny and Zooey, F. Scott and Zelda. Watch out for Isolde, she bites. If I sound cynical, it's, well, because I was. And it was because of this cynicism about 8 years ago that I was tempted to, this close to taking my profile down off Match.com. I sort of recognized in a feat of self-awareness that I don't know where it came from, that my cynicism was informing my interactions on these dates. And I sort of realized that I'm never gonna meet the woman of my dreams with this attitude. Take your profile down. It was almost at that precise moment that an email appeared in my inbox with the subject line said, "You're cute. I think we should meet." Well, flattery will get you everywhere with me, and so I took a look at her profile. It was pretty clear from the outset that she wasn't like the normal, typical DC woman that I'd been dating. Her username was Firestick Feather. And I took a look at her profile, and it was pretty clear from her profile, again, not the typical DC woman. She was clearly spending a lot of time in the New Age section of the bookstore. Remember bookstores? Bookstores were great. She was really into like Wiccan and reflexology and the healing powers of crystals, right? And I took a look at her photos, and again, there were pictures of unicorns and rainbows and unicorns on rainbows. And pictures of her, and she was an extraordinarily attractive woman, but she seemed to be taking her fashion cues from the peasant class of a third world country. She had bandanas on, and drop cloth clothes, and cheesecloth clothes, and clothes that she looked like she made from stuff, right? And I thought to myself, you know what, Shawn? That's your problem right there. You are not open to the possibilities and potentials of the universe. You're a typical DC schlub. Why not take a chance? Why not say yes to the universe? And so I went ahead and I wrote her back. I said, thank you for the kind words. Very kind of you. Yes, why don't we meet? How about tomorrow? And I get an email response almost immediately. It says, yeah, thank you. Before we do meet, would you mind telling me the day you were born? As well as the time of day you were born. So I'm not a schlub anymore. I'm open to the universe. I'm send her this information, right? And I get an email response almost about an hour later, and it's got an attachment to it. And it's our astrological compatibility. And it's like, well, Shawn, you are a Gemini, and I'm a Pisces, and I'm a water sign, and you're near the cusp. And that's you're near the Cancer. So if we were to be together, we both understand that we get very fluid later in the month. So we have to manage that down. But yes, we can meet. Yes, we can meet. Yes, the universe said we could meet. I'm going on this date. So I show up the next day, and we sit down over coffee, and we begin talking. And again, let me just say that there wasn't an ounce, as we're talking, there wasn't an ounce of insincerity in her voice. She clearly believed all the things that were in her profile. There was not a Machiavellian bone in her body. In fact, to hammer home just how sincere she was an upspeaker. The intonation of her voice, everything she said ended, And so, Shawn, I'm really into auras, and yours is green, and that's good. Green auras. You hear that, universe? Yeah. And so, Shawn, I channel past lives. Channel past lives. Okay, yeah, I'm still with you, universe. I'm still with you. And so, Shawn, I'm really sensitive to ghosts and spirits. Sensitive to ghosts and spirits? Yeah, in fact, my apartment is haunted. Your apartment is haunted? Yes, Shawn, in fact, ghosts come and visit me at night. Ghosts come and visit you at night? Yes, in fact, Shawn, they try to have sex with me. I can feel my openness to the universe starting to fade about now. They try to have sex with you? Yes, Shawn, and in fact, you know, sometimes I let them. I can only blame my cynicism for the following question. So, I said, how are they? Actually, she said, not bad. And right there is where the universe and I drew a line, right there. Here's why, because men, and you can testify to this, it is difficult enough competing for the affections and attentions of a woman in this dimension. No matter how good or bad my cocksmanship is, I can't compete with the spirit world. There's no manual I can read to get better at having sex with ghosts. And I thought to myself, I forecasted further. I thought, what if we were to date, like in that moment, what if we were to date? Would I be expected to take part in ghost threesomes? Would my potential girlfriend cuckold me with a ghost right in front of me and I not even know it? I pretty much ended the date right there and bid her adieu, and I never heard from Firestick Feather again, and I thought, well, that's it. I'm done with the universe. And for the next couple years, actually, I went back to just being a typical DC schlub, dating typical DC women. Until about 3 years ago, I met a woman who had just finished taking my improv class. She finished. She was not my student anymore. Let me just read that. Steve Carell met his wife that way, okay? And we began talking one afternoon after class, and that's where we sort of really bonded, because she began sharing things that I didn't know from her from having her in my class. She had children very young, in her 20s, and I had been raising kids in my 20s too, and we both had been sort of forced into the corporate world, even though we felt like punk rockers in disguise. So there was a lot of similarities there. In fact, she said at our first interaction, I feel like I'm living my life backwards. And that's something that I've often uttered verbatim to friends. About 2.5 weeks after we started dating, she's sitting across from me at a coffee shop, and she's holding 2 tickets to a festival known as Burning Man. And we talked about this. We'd said, okay, well, you know, why don't you go? I know you're going, and if you come back and there's still momentum around this, we'll pick it up. And she said, look, I've been trying to sell this extra ticket, and it keeps coming back to me. I think the man wants you there. I think the universe wants you there. So what was I going to do? Was I going to say yes to the universe this time? I did. And I thought to myself, as I took that ticket, that this trip to Burning Man is either going to bring us closer together or rip us irreparably, horrifically apart. And so I went to Burning Man with her, and again, if you've never been to Burning Man, it's a huge art, drug festival, naked people, semi-naked people, lots of dubstep, 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 dubstep. And again, also a lot of people who talked and sounded a lot like Firestick Feather. And I met them and adored them. In 6 weeks, I'm going to marry the woman who gave me that ticket to Burning Man. We all sleep with ghosts. We all channel past lives. Thank you.